Alright, and welcome back to Fun with Monu-Cad. This is just going to be a quick tutorial on some different commands, some different things to use, remember, to help you draw. First of all, a line, Li, creates a line. You drag from one point to another, anywhere that you want. That's one of the commands we use all the time in Monu-Cad. Also A3, which creates an arc from one point. We pick a center point and we pick an end point to create our arc. With these two commands and a couple others, we can draw just about anything. If we use another command, LISA, which is a line and snaps parallel, we can then choose the line that we started. We can choose a beginning point. I'm sorry, LISA. We can choose our line, set our offset distance. I'm going to choose 1 inch here, and we can draw a line that is parallel to our first line, and we can do that again and again to create parallel lines. We can do the same thing with our arc here. We did A3 to create our arc, and we can use A3 again, SA, which is to snap parallel. Select our object, select our distance here, we'll do 1 inch again, and we can select outside the arc, or we can select our arc and choose inside the arc, and now we have parallel lines. This is most commonly used for creating V-lines. So we can use in our config. I'm going to set my config, and I'm going to set my function keys here. I use F5 and F6, LISA and A3SA. Then we can just simply use our shortcut to draw our lines and our arcs. So if we wanted to draw a 2-inch single V line, we can do that by entering our line widths here, a 1/4 inch and 3/32. And now we're creating a V line. We can do the same thing up here using A3SA or a shortcut F6. Choose 2 inch, hit F6, 3/32. Choose it again, 1/4 inch, F6 one more time, 3/32, and now we're creating a V line. This same process can be used for creating a book. Oops, that fillet is set for a 1/4 inch round. I'm going to do RF, change our fillet radius to 0, and now I can fillet these back the way I want them. And now we're drawing V-lines. Of course, there's a much simpler way to do this if we're just trying to do a panel around. By choosing SE, select object, hold my shift button down, it'll select all the adjacent lines to the one I chose, and I can use inline, change my distance to 2 inch, update, you see it'll create my lines for me. I can do it again, SE, shift, select the line I want, inline again, and I can choose my 3/32 and write down to fill out a double V-line panel. Very simple. We can stretch this up using ortho to whatever distance we want. Okay, so another neat command, one that I do not use very much, but Kevin has told us all about, is instead of using A3, let me erase this. Instead of using A3, which we would create an arc like this, and let's say we wanted to make another arc like this, but we wanted that to be a nice smooth transition. I guess many of us are proficient at making a fairly smooth transition simply because we're used to drawing, and so it looks pretty good. But you'll notice when you pop lines off of here, let's say a 1-inch line, that they don't actually in fact connect because they're a little off. Although they look pretty good, it's just simply not drawn as well as it could be. That's where the A5 command comes in. If we use A5, we choose our starting point, we choose a middle, and we choose the end, just like the arc we did before. But now it gives us extra points, and so now we can choose the other part of that arc, and we can choose it any direction that we want. And the nice thing about this is that when we pop these lines, they all stay nice and perfectly joined, so we don't have the same problems that we did when we tried to do it manually using A3. So A5 is a great tool for drawing multiple arcs that all transition nice and smooth. It's almost like creating a bezier, but we don't like to draw in beziers. Another significant tool whenever you're drawing in a CAD program is to use all of your snap mids, your snaps basically. You can snap to the middle of a line, you can snap to the nearest point, which are these points. You can snap to an intersection here. You can snap to a nearest point, NP, grabs to whatever nearest point our cursor's at. Snap middle of this line. Using ortho, we can make nice perpendicular lines. Whenever you're imaging something over, say I want to image this circle, C2, from the center of the circle to the outside of the circle. If I want to image this circle from here over here, I can choose my nearest line. Oops, nearest line, and it'll make an image. That's much better than doing the same thing, doing a window mirror or window image, and trying to set my cursor right here on that line and get it just right, because even though that looks right, it's probably not. It's always better to use your snaps. Use the snap mid, nearest point, nearest line, or some other snap. That'll make sure that your drawing is all correct. Now for many users, your snaps are just something that you remember. Nearest line NL, snap mid SM, nearest point NP. For those that don't remember those or are not used to using them, they're also found under your snaps toolbar up here, and you can actually pull out a toolbar. You can show your toolbars and throw those up here. Snaps, pull those out if it's easier for you to click them. For me, I just remember them. I use them all the time. But you can choose them up here just as easily, and you can turn on all kinds of different toolbars if that helps you draw. For some people it makes a big difference, for others it doesn't. I'm one of those that just remembers the two-letter commands, because that's the way I was taught back in the DOS version. Another way of, instead of using snaps, to make sure that images, say this flower, is imaged correctly to the other side. A lot of people draw on 0, 0, which is to say this point down here, when they pull up a drawing, is at 0, 0, 0x, 0y. For people that don't use the coordinate system like that, your snaps are very important. I was taught to draw in CAD in college, and we were told that we have all of this infinite white space and that there is really no reason to draw on 0, 0. If you use your snaps correctly and you go to the midpoint of a line using your nearest points, using um, the centers of circles and things like that, will just ensure that no matter where your drawing is, if you're not on 0, that you're still mirroring things correctly, uh, making sure things are parallel, straight, etc. So we can window image this cross and flower from 0, 0 and put it right there. We could also window image this same thing from snap mid, which we know this is the midpoint of our drawing, and you can see it's right on top of each other. We'll see a lot of people will snap a line and now they know that that's the center, but then they'll do this cardinal mistake of trying to choose that line right here, and they think they're on it. As you can see, although it looked close, not quite there. Let's try that again. And this problem compounds itself the further you are out, because that looks like we're on the line, and this looks like we're on the line. If we can get it just right. But I can guarantee you, snapping that way is not going to render a perfectly mirrored image every time. It'll get close. Sometimes you'll hit it. Most of the time you won't. So use your snaps. They're very important. Use your LISA here to make nice straight parallel lines. And they'll be parallel every time. And same thing with your arcs. A3SA